At the end of the day, what this boils down to is the fact that this is a site that is Palestinian territory that Israel illegally occupies. You know, East Jerusalem is recognized by every international organization as illegally occupied Palestinian territory. And the situation that we're really seeing unfolding right now boils down to the fact that Israel is exercising more control over territories that don't belong to them and sites that don't belong to them. So I think these security measures that we're seeing right now are just the straw that broke the camel's back.
It is not internationally recognized Palestinian occupied territory, but rather it is legally occupied following the 1967 war. Occupation is a legal term, which of course entails certain commitments. That's a separate discussion. But even after one defines it as occupied, it is not Palestinian occupied land as things currently stand in terms of international law, for the prosaic reason that there never was previously Palestinian state.
First of all, when it comes to the occupation, there is a ton of UN resolutions that say that Israel is obligated to withdraw from the territories they occupied in 1967 in exchange for Palestinian recognition of Israel. That recognition came in 1988 and continued throughout the entire peace process with the idea that in exchange for that, Israel was going to withdraw from the occupied territories, and they never did. So the legal status of East Jerusalem is very clearly illegally occupied at this point, and that's why the International Court of Justice condemns any building of settlements and any building that Israel does in East Jerusalem. But as far as the security point is concerned, I mean, all you have to do is just imagine the situation is flipped. Imagine if there was a security incident that erupted in Tel Aviv, and then the Palestinian Authority sent in armed guards and metal detectors and cameras and put them out around sensitive sites around Tel Aviv. The discussion would not be about whether specific security measures were a problem. Everybody would be talking about how ridiculous it is that the Palestinian Authority gave itself the right to go into territory that does not belong to it, to exercise security control over it. And this is really the bottom line.
Amos, what is your response to that?
Yeah, I'm saying that Israel did place on the counter all the goods that Omar now mentions, while conveniently ignoring the fact that the UN resolutions, of course, all discuss that kind of barter in the framework of a peace agreement. The peace agreement was proposed with Israel's full consent by Bill Clinton in 2000, and the Palestinians rejected that. The same thing happened later with Olmert. So this is why we have the situation. This is why we have the situation whereby there is a stalemate, and the deal that Israel wanted to strike, and that the Israeli voter repeatedly elected leaders who would deliver.
No, the stalemate.
That deal did not happen because Palestinian leaders retreated from that, and
no, that is simply not the case.
The dotted line. The
reason why the peace agreement failed was precisely because Israel continued to expand settlements more and more throughout the occupied territories. They, in essence, were entrenching the occupation of the Palestinian territories further at a time when they were supposed to be withdrawing from it.
What happened in the talks at Camp David in summer 2000. This is not what transpired between Mahmoud Abbas and Ehud Olmert. They did put the goods on the counter, and the Palestinian leaders, in response to these Israeli proposals, refrained from signing the deal. These are the facts.
The closest we've come to resolving the conflict was in the year 2000 during the Camp David Accords, and the person who was Israel's foreign minister at the time, Shlomo Ben Ami, said that had he been Palestinian, he would not have accepted that offer because it fell significantly short of giving the Palestinians true sovereignty.
All right, I want to move on. Omar, you want to respond to that? And in that response, I mean, are the Palestinians still deeply divided when it comes to those who are on the West Bank and those who are in Gaza?
Yeah, there's no question that Palestinians are deeply divided, and there's a lot of infighting that is going on. But let's not forget, of course, that it's Israel actually that is leading the effort to try to bring down Hamas in the Gaza Strip. Once they were elected, they placed the Gaza Strip under siege. They were not allowing basic foods and basic necessities to go in, and it was only after significant international outrage when humanitarian organizations were trying to get food in that ultimately they started allowing some more humanitarian goods in. But they still have the Gaza Strip under siege. They don't allow it to communicate with the outside world. There's no commerce going on. They shoot at fishermen when they go into the sea. So really, when we talk about Gaza, we're looking at a very dire situation, and the party that holds the primary responsibility for the dire situation in Gaza is Israel, because it is the party that has imposed this crippling siege on Gaza, which is just devastating the civilian population there.
Concerning what Omar said, once again, for the record, Israel has never avoided food from Gaza. On the contrary, you can go every day to the Kisufim border post and see how hundreds of trucks from Israel bring supplies into Gaza. This is not what has been happening there. And I should add in this regard, we Jews have been libeled for centuries and for millennia. This is a libel. To say that we avoid food from Gaza in any point, whether deliberately or inadvertently, is a libel.
That was a
It's
fact
not good to
documented
libel
by
the
UN
Jews.
reports.
It failed in the past and it will fail in the future, and it's unfounded. And I would urge you to very carefully pick what you charge us with. When you charge us with
Google is the
reasonable,
ultimate tool here for
arguments,
anybody listening to
We'll be
this.
there and we will listen. When you libel us, you lose us.
There is no libel here taking whatsoever. Your inability to just confront the truth of what is actually unfolding is the problem. The fact that Israel was not allowing soda pops and cookies and bags of chips into the Gaza Strip was a fact that was documented by the UN, and it's documented the fact that they backed off from that. So it is true right now that they do allow humanitarian food in, but the Gaza Strip does not need to be dependent on Israel for trucks of food in the first place.
You can repeat this as much as you want. It's unfounded.
They
No
should
one
be
in the
allowed
world
to have
believes you
open
except
contact
your
with the
own
rest of the world.
audience.
Okay.
It's very counterproductive from your own viewpoint to try and level these kinds of charges at us Israelis. This is the point at which
good thing
we
the viewers
cease to
can actually
be
look this up and figure out
criticize
whether they're actually
Israelis,
true.
and we become very, very, very offended Jews. Don't do that. It's not useful from your own viewpoint.
Frankly, you're the person who's deflecting, and this insinuation of anti-Semitism here by saying that Jews have been libeled for so long is absolutely absurd. Pointing out what Israel is doing to the Palestinians when it's actually factual and backed up is not libel. These are the facts.
Pure anti-Semitism. If I were you, I would avoid. We can continue bickering like this. I will not lose this battle.